This is the Barry Richards Show. WBSM On Demand.
Without further ado,
WBSM presents The Barry Richards Show. Streaming live on WBSM.com and the WBSM app. Call 508-996-0500. Text us using App Chat on the WBSM app. Now, The Barry Richards Show.
Welcome to the program. It is a Tuesday afternoon. That is David Sanborn, the alto saxophonist who winner of 6 Grammy Awards. Legendary. Passed away yesterday, 78 years old, after suffering a courageous battle with prostate cancer. And we certainly will miss David Sanborn, another one of the legends, another one of the good guys that got away. Speaking about one of the good guys, we've got one of the good guys on the program this afternoon. Coming up in the 1 o'clock hour, Massachusetts Republican State Senator Peter Durant, who represents Worcester and Hampshire County Senate District, is going to join us. And he has been a leading voice, in fact, one of the only voices in Massachusetts speaking out against the storming of Massachusetts by the illegal immigrants and some other stuff, too. We're going to talk to him about Maura Healey's trip to Italy and some other issues. So stick around for that. Should be a very interesting conversation. We appreciate Senator Durant making a return visit to the program. The appellate division of the New York Supreme Court has this morning denied President Trump's appeal of the gag order imposed by Judge Juan Merchan. We find that Justice Merchan properly weighed petitioners' First Amendment rights against the court's historical commitment to ensuring the fair administration of justice in criminal cases and the right of persons related or I'm sorry, this is one of those words I trip over every single time. But anyway, his related to the criminal proceedings from being fair, from threats, intimidation, harassment, and harm. Tangentially, there we go. Let's say it slow. Linoleum. I used to have a problem with linoleum when I was a kid. I just could never say linoleum. There's another one that I have a tough time with. And I'm not even going to try to say it because I have a tough time every time I say it. So anyway, those words that haunt us in the middle of the night. Anyway, so Trump's lawyers will now have the opportunity to appeal to the New York Court of Appeals. And the campaign says the gag order imposed by conflicted Judge Juan Merchan in the lawless Manhattan DA case is unconstitutional and un-American. The threat to throw the 45th president of the United States and the leading candidate in the 2024 presidential election in jail for exercising his First Amendment right is a third world authoritarian tactic typical of crooked Joe Biden and his comrades. A statement from the campaign. It seems that some records of phone calls related to the prosecution of Trump were deleted from case files. Manhattan District Attorney Office paralegal Jaden Jarmel Schneider admitted that during the trial testimony. Some records of phone calls related to the criminal prosecution were deleted. They were just deleted. I mean, this is kind of like, down in Florida where the evidence there was tampered with. Things were taken out of evidence boxes, put back in different places, if at all. How How do you delete records of phone calls in somebody's trial and expect them to get a fair trial? The acknowledgement is important because the defense may not have all of the evidence necessary. Jarmel Schneider's testimony involved a key recording that the prosecution played earlier in the trial. The prosecutors played the recording in order to allegedly show that Trump and Michael Cohen speaking about catch and kill or hush money payments. Trump's attorneys believe that Cohen doctored the recording. They point to the fact that it abruptly ends. The Associated Press reports records show Cohen received a phone call about 22 seconds after the recording was cut off, according to Jarmel Schneider's testimony. Prosecutors seem to be eliciting the testimony to back up their claim that the recording wasn't edited, but was cut short after Cohen received an incoming call. While Trump defense attorney Emil Bove challenged the evidence put forward by prosecutors on Friday, he asked Jarmel Schneider about the deletion of some toll records between Keith Davidson and Michael Cohen after the defense submitted recordings between the two from 2018, according to CNN. The paralegal admitted Bragg's office deleted some call records from the Trump case files. Some of the call records related to a third-page exhibit of calls between Gina Rodriguez and Dylan Howard, Jarmel Schneider confirmed. At this trial, you're sort of the guardian of the toll records, Bove asked Bragg's paralegal. I don't know if I'd say that, but if you say so, he said. Bove showed Jarmel Schneider a text message shown about Hope Hicks calling the former CEO of American Media, David Pecker. Bove demanded Jarmel Schneider confirm that no such records of the call existed. Jarmel Schneider could not recall off the top of his head. Evidence missing, evidence destroyed, deleted. More support today for Trump at the trial in New York. Republican lawmakers and politicians turning out today. Trump was flanked by North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, Florida Representative Byron Donalds, Florida Representative Corey Mills, and former 2024 Republican contender Vivek Ramaswamy, all of whom are defenders of the 45th president, and some could be in the running as a potential vice presidential pick. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson was also there today in court for Donald Trump. I mean, this is absolutely amazing, the show of support that Trump's getting. Yesterday, J.D. Vance was there. New York Representative Nicole Maliotakis, Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville, Eric Trump is also there today. Trump campaign official says the supporters all volunteered to join Trump in court to show their support for their friend and were not motivated by politics. By the way, Maura Healey and Michelle Wu, the mayor of Boston, are officially in Italy now, in Rome, Italy. We've told you that Maura Healey and her staff of, I don't recall now whether there are 3 or 4 people with her, all being paid for with your money, taxpayer money, out of a state tourism account. Michelle Wu, mayor of Boston, is, her bill is being footed by the taxpayers of Boston. It's climate summit meeting with the Pope. What we learned today, Boston Herald is reporting that Michelle Wu brought her children with her on the taxpayers' nickel. Brought her children with her to the climate summit. Wu's office sent an itinerary yesterday of the mayor's 6-day trip, which begins today and includes mention of a stop her 2 sons will be partaking in that ties back to their family's Italian heritage. Her husband's mother is Italian-American. The mayor will visit Sulmona, a town with strong ties through immigration to Boston's North End, and attend a commemorative event in Corino, Ausonio, where her children will see the hometown that their great-great-grandparents immigrated from, according to a statement from Wu's office. The mayor shares 2 elementary-aged sons with her husband, Connor Puarski. Statement didn't specify whether Wu's husband would be attending as well. And the trip goes on till Sunday. Boston taxpayers are paying for this. Michelle Wu to take her kids to see their roots in Italy. Spokesman for Wu, Ricardo Patron, previously said that the city of Boston plans to cover the mayor's flights to and from Italy and her hotel stays. I don't know whether Maura Healey is traveling alone. As you know, Maura Healey's staff keeps her travel close to the vest as possible. But you will be paying, or you are paying. We don't know how much it's going to cost. I wrote a piece yesterday. It's up on WBSM.com and our social media pages explaining that while you are being charged for Maura Healey's trip to Italy, we won't know how much it's going to cost until she gets back. That's what the office tells us. It's not like, well, we're going to allocate, $20,000 toward the trip out of state money, taxpayer money. Now, we're told that once they add up the receipts, I don't even do, boy, I'll tell you what, Fannie Willis, right? So at least I guess they're going to bring home receipts. And they'll tell us after Maura Healey gets home how much we owe her. They will tell us when Maura Healey gets home how much we owe her for going to Italy for us. Isn't she special? 508-9960-500 is the number. So Healey was on Channel 5's, I don't know what the hell is Channel 5's On the Record program on Sunday morning. And was asked about the crisis with Steward Medical, something we've got 8 hospitals on the verge of closing or going out of business, and Maura Healey is allowing you to pay for her to go to Italy for the week. Nothing important, nothing to see here, right? But anyway, Healey was on the Record on Channel 5 on Sunday morning. Did not rule out the possibility of a state bailout for Steward Healthcare, and suggested that the legislature will have a role to play in the resolution of the healthcare sector turmoil. On Monday morning, her staff had to quickly walk that back. The hell does she think she is, Joe Biden? Staff's going to come out the next day and walk it back? Or nut? What's a nuts? Tibbetts nut? Coming out, we're going to tax anything that moves. And then they have to come out the next day and recant that as well. Here's the problem. They say these things, float them like trial balloons, and in the campaign, and then the staff comes out, oh, no, we didn't really mean that. But it's out there. So when down the road they do say, yes, we are going to toll highways, and yes, we are going to bail out the hospitals, you'd already have heard it. Well, we said that. We kind of said that before. Asked on Channel 5's On the Record program on Sunday morning whether she would rule out a taxpayer bailout for Steward, the governor did not answer directly. And that's a fairly straightforward question, right? Would you rule out a taxpayer bailout for Steward? Maura Healey, she might have been thinking about pizza, and she might have been thinking about the Pope. You know, which ring does he hold up his hand so I know which ring to kiss or what? And she might have had her mind on something else. But direct question. Would you rule out a taxpayer bailout for Steward Medical? Governor replied, well, we'll work with the legislature on all of this. We've continued to be in close touch with the legislature because this implicates the stability of the healthcare market, Healey said. Now, months ago, you may recall, Healey said in an interview with the public radio station in Boston that Steward is not going to get bailed out. And the governor's office told the News Service, State House News Service on Monday that Healy is not considering a bailout of Stewart or its embattled CEO, Ralph De La Torre. So if the governor said in an interview with public radio, quoting, Stewart is not going to get bailed out, why, when asked on Sunday if she would rule out a taxpayer bailout for Stewart, the governor didn't answer quite so directly, did she? Her answer and her tone seems to have changed a little bit. I mean, a couple of months ago, Stewart is not going to get bailed out, period. Definitive statement. On Sunday, would you rule out a taxpayer bailout for Stewart? And the governor said, well, we'll work with the legislature on all of this. We've continued to be in close touch with the legislature because this implicates the stability of the healthcare market. Quite a change. Quite a change. And, of course, old Maura is on her way to Rome, so he had to leave the staff to come out and say, well, she didn't really mean that the state was going to, bail it out. I mean, she... What's her position going to be next time? We go from absolutely no to, So what's the answer going to be? Maybe we'll come back and there'll be a check in the mail for Stewart. I don't know. Not quite sure where this is all going to go. But I guess we're going to find out. 508-996-0500. Oh, by the way, before we get into, got so much stuff here. Something I wanted to put out here before we get into the first calls. Yeah, inflation. Who does the shopping in your household, right? Key gauge of inflation surged by much more than expected in April, confirming that the pace of inflation has accelerated. The Producer Price Index for a final demand, which measures the prices paid to U.S. businesses for their goods and services, rose by 2.2% in April. According to the Department of Labor, compared with a year ago, the index is up 2.2%, the largest increase in a year. Economists had forecast a 0.3% gain in April. The so-called Core Producer Price Index, a measure that excludes prices of food and energy, jumped 0.5% in April. Another measure that also excludes wholesale and retail merchant margins, known as the trade services price, rose 0.4%. I know all of this is like, mind-numbing. It'll kill your brain to try to figure out all these numbers. It doesn't matter. But what you need to know is that inflation is accelerating and it's out of control. It's out of control, and it's going faster and faster and faster. $508-996-0500. Thanks for hanging on. You're first this hour on WBSM. Good afternoon.
Hey, Barry. I tell you what happened with Maura Healey when she said no bailout for Stewart. We'll work with the legislature. Translation, the check's in the mail for the campaign, Maura.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
Yeah.
She's bought and paid for. I said this last week, this was coming. The next big bailout of federal state is going to be the hospitals. The same hospitals and medical facilities these people drove in the ground with that ridiculous Obamacare Act, which basically created this mess in the first place, whether it's low reimbursements, and now you're pushing every freaking illegal from every part of the world into these Medicare expansion systems, and it's going to make things worse. And the collapse and the bailouts are going to have to come fast because it's already started, and it's going to get worse, Barry. I'm telling you.
Oh, it's going to get much, much worse. And there are things that are going on in this state that are dangerous that I don't like. And you add to that all of the things that are going on the federal level, being driven by inflation and these Green New Deal policies and all kinds of crazy other stuff, plus the immigration situation at the border. And we are in some serious trouble here. We really are.
Oh, yeah. So, Maura and her friends and Rule are all partying at the Climate Grifters Conference. I don't know if you saw this. The three guys they picked up who were arrested in Northborough for the shooting are all illegals, and they're all from Brazil. A 16-year-old kid was killed in those shootings. So where's the mayor? She's not around. Where's the governor? Because the governor needs to ask questions. Hey, Maura, did you want these three killers into the state so they can murder a 16-year-old kid? But, of course, she's not around. I mean, she's at the Climate Grifters Conference. I mean, it just – and you're right about inflation. You hit it on the head. And the hospitals – this affects hospitals, too. because the cost of supplies, the cost of medical supplies, the cost of everything is going up. And this is what you're eventually going to have is hyperinflation. And this was predicted almost 2 years ago by certain people. It said, get ready for it with Biden in office. Everything they're doing, all these ridiculous policies and regulations are going to eventually have hyperinflation. And the Fed's not going to cut interest rates anytime soon. They're just probably going to let it sit there and either die a slow death. And they're not going to lower interest rates because if they do that, so they do too quickly, it could backfire. And that's why all these prices going. You notice it at the market this weekend. Certain things. I was at Walmart last weekend, and I could tell you prices of certain products jumped almost 25%, and that's not a coincidence, you know. And of course, Liz Warren. Well, it's price gouging. It's the corporations. It's the companies.
Well, same thing with Joe Biden. They're screwing you, and by putting fewer chips in the bag and charging you more. So it's Lay's potato chips and Stop and Shop that are out to get you. It's not our policies.
No. According to Joe Biden, he thinks, well, you can afford it. You're getting all these wage hikes, imaginary wage hikes. I mean, it's such a lie, and they're getting away with it because they got enough stupid people to believe it.
Absolutely. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. 508-996-0500. And you know, the insulting part about all of this is we've got a lot of crises going on in Massachusetts right now. You know, certainly Maura Healey has nothing to do with inflation, but you know, we've got the situation with the Stewart hospitals. I mean, this is one of those things that the leader of the state should be here, should not be going away somewhere. We don't know if there's going to be a problem with one of these hospitals over the next couple of days, couple of weeks. I mean, a real emergency crisis or whatever. And Maura Healey's out of town. I mean, this is the stuff that you elect a leader for, to be here. You want to take vacations. You want to do all the... Well, you know, first of all, don't run for public office, because this is a job that is full-time, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And the governor should be here right now. We are in a crisis. We are still under a state of emergency. We have been under a state of emergency since August 8th. That's September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. 9 months into a state of emergency as declared by Maura Healey. And she's lollygagging on these issues. She's not dealing with any of this stuff. She's not dealing with this migrant crisis. She's overseas. She's not paying attention. Her eye is off the ball. She doesn't care. And I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. 508-996-0500. Thanks for waiting in Exton WBSM.
Hey, Barry. Good afternoon.
Hi.
You know, we're talking about Hawthorne, but you know, I had to go to a doctor today at South Coast, and I didn't see the doctor. I saw the nurse practitioner, and we were talking. And so this specialist that she works for, as you know, in the past, you could actually use them as your primary care doctor because they would take care of patients, okay?
Yep.
And so I guess in the next couple of weeks, there's a letter going out to all the patients that the specialist had where he was their primary doctor, telling them as of such and such a date, he can no longer be their primary care doctor because of insurance purposes. Because for some reason, the whatever insurance, health insurance, which she didn't, get into details, is not allowing it. Is not allowing. If you're a specialist, that's what you have to. That's what you have to concentrate. You cannot be a primary care doctor. So now, like she explained, now all these people that have had this specialist for God knows how long are going to be informed.
So that describes my case perfectly with the two things you just said. My primary is also a specialist. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now I haven't seen my primary since it's been years. I see the nurse practitioner, which I prefer anyway.
Right.
So what I'm understanding here is that I'm not going to be able to see the nurse practitioner anymore, and I'm not going to be able to see my primary, because my primary is also a specialist.
Okay, so under South Coast, because I do go to.
Oh, that's South Coast. Okay, yeah, I'm out at I'm in Dartmouth. But
yeah, well, Hawthorne, I don't know. I mean, I do go to Hawthorne also, but
Yeah.
I'm also able to go to South Coast because of the supplement insurance that I pay for with
Okay.
my Medicare.
Yep.
So that's number one. So I don't know about Hawthorne, but this is what she told me this morning when I went to the South Coast doctor. And I did see her, the nurse practitioner, because again, too, I'd rather see her than the doctor. But this doctor is a specialist, and letters are going out. So now I don't know if this is an across the board thing with all the South Coast specialists that have patients as they're covered as their primary care, or if it's was just that particular office.
Well, I imagine the same insurance companies cover patients at South Coast as Hawthorne.
Right. And so based on also what she said, that since now they're encountering this, that their South Coast is hiring a slew of nurse practitioners so that they can basically concentrate on being the primary care, primary care doctor.
Which is fine with me. I mean, my nurse practitioner is wonderful, an intelligent person, and has given me excellent care. And everything that goes on with me is through consultation with her and my primary.
Right.
So I've been very, very comfortable with the care that I get from them. But I don't know if that's going to be true for everybody.
Right, but I didn't. I mean, I mean, there was no time for me to start asking too specifics. But that's kind of a strange. I mean, that's really got me wondering what she meant by the insurance. What does that mean?
The insurance is. I mean, it's obvious. Anybody out there who is regularly in the care of a doctor or getting medications or whatever. I know I have noticed in the course of the last year, every time my doctor sends a prescription over to the pharmacy, I get a call that the insurance has rejected it. And then I call my doctor back and I say, well, hold on, we'll call and fight for it and we'll get back to you. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. But it seems as though the insurance companies are getting really tough about what they want to cover and what they don't want to cover anymore. And
but I mean, the medication, I get that because I think with my experience, that's happened for a long time. But the thing is, what made the insurance now all of a sudden decide
to save money?
That the specialists cannot continue to have these so-called patients that have been seeing the specialist as a primary care doctor. I mean, something. Well,
you know the money is at the root of it, right? I mean, obviously the insurance company is getting killed also out there. I mean, the insurance company is getting killed. The hospitals are getting killed. The medical industry is getting killed. We've got too much government involvement and interference in our medical system. And,
they're getting killed, but for people that have to pay for insurance out of pocket. I mean, where people are paying through the nose. So, and I get it that we're basically paying also to cover other people like we know that are coming into this country illegally where they're getting health care for free. So something's got to give.
Well, yeah, somebody pays for it. It's not all free. And to that point, I know I have a friend who contacted me and told me that she's recently retired at 62, not old enough yet to get Medicare and all that. And she's paying out of pocket $550 a month for her insurance. Right. And there's like this massive premium that she has to meet each year before she can actually start getting coverage. And then it's like a $30 copay each visit or whatever. But I mean, the cost is astronomical to people. But again, if you can waltz across that Rio Grande and get up here to Maura Healey's the People's Republic of Massachusetts. You got all that for free. You don't have to worry about a damn thing. I got to hold you, my friend. Excellent information. I appreciate it. I look forward to hearing more about it. I got to get a break in, though. 508-996-0500 is the number. We're coming right back after this. Stay with us. 1 o'clock hour, we have Massachusetts Republican State Senator Peter Durant, who represents the Worcester and Hampshire County Senate District, going to be with us. So stick around. Should be a great conversation. Remember a couple of months ago when Donald Trump said that if Joe Biden doesn't act against Chinese imports of electric vehicles and batteries and all that kind of stuff, that there was going to be a quote-unquote bloodbath, and the Democrats and the media got all over Trump. He's going to have a bloodbath. If he loses, he's going to kill people. Maxine Waters, 2 weeks ago, said he's got people up in the hills training to come and kill black people if he loses, and all that's going to be a bloodbath. Well, I guess Joe must have been listening, because the president just now, a few minutes ago, announced plans to slap new tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles, advanced batteries, solar cells, steel, aluminum, and medical equipment. It's an election year move, obviously. Try to get a step out there ahead of Trump. 508-996-0500 is the number. You are next in WBSM. Thanks for hanging on.
Hey, Barry. Thank you for bringing me way back to the Love Boat. I used to love that show, like when I was a kid. And at the end, it always ended with that famous kiss by the ocean outside. But better times, Barry. Better times.
Yeah, absolutely. Sit around with a family and watch shows like that on TV.
And you can actually watch a show and not worry that something crazy might show up, like at any second.
Yeah, I don't think there were any transgenders on the Love Boat, whether.
No. It was it's actually that generation knew what a man and a woman was. But it's a whole other story. Barry, it's a couple of things that you touched upon. It's funny about the inflation. Funny is this weekend we ordered some pizza. It's from the place I usually go to. So we ordered some takeout and we brought it home. And I noticed it, and we ordered it about 2 months ago. From 2 months to now, the same exact pizza went up $3.20.
Wow.
In 2 months.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't blame them. I get it. I do the shopping is just like you do. I get it. I see it. So I'm not surprised. You're talking about the doctor thing. I think what's happening there with a specialist, insurance companies are trying to find ways to save money, because when you go to specialists, it's a different tier. So probably for a regular routine in-person visit will probably cost you more with a specialist, even though he's looking at something that's general practice compared to a general practice like physician. Yeah. So the insurance companies are trying to get ahead of it, because I know very well, in my tier, when I go for a specialist, they cost $20 more than the general practitioner. Yeah. So that's what's probably happening because these insurance companies are being inundated. Inflation's killing them just like everything else. So they're going to be nickel and diamond. Now, just imagine that in our government system, in our state system, with all these illegals. Imagine that 100 times fold, okay? When they're getting nothing. The insurance companies are getting some money. We're getting nothing. We're in a negative on everything. So I could only imagine, just like you said, Barry, people say, oh, you're being... How can you not be pessimistic? If you are a realist, and I go by the math, I live my life black and white, facts and figures. You know this is going to end very badly.
Yeah, it certainly is. Paul, I got to hold you right there. I got to hit the break. But yeah, no, it certainly is. I don't see, unless we have multiple terms in Washington of smaller government and lower taxes and better border policy and things like that. Yeah, I don't see where anything's going to get better. But this is up to the people. I mean, the people write this book, and we get to determine where we go from there. Thank you, Paul. I got to hold you. 508-996-0500. If you want 3 cash offers on your home at a great price without the traditional hassle of selling, simply contact my friend Nathan Clark of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. They guarantee you multiple cash offers at your price, or Nathan will pay you the difference. This is the easiest, best way to sell your home. No need to list it for sale. No need for 3-hour open houses. No showings, no inspections. You sell your house as it is, and you can move out when you want to move out. Nathan Clark, contact him, 401-200-3042. That's 401-200-3042. Receive 3 cash offers in minutes, and you can even set your own closing date, okay? Best way to sell your home. Call or text Nathan Clark with your home sold guaranteed realty, 401-200-3042. You'll get multiple cash offers in minutes on your home at your price, or Nathan will pay you the difference. Call or text 401-200-3042 and start packing. All right, quick break. We're coming right back for a lot more after this. Massachusetts Republican State Senator Peter Durant, and this guy's a rock star. He represents the Worcester and Hampshire County Senate District, and he's going to chat with us. He's been pretty much the Lone Ranger out there in his criticism of the Healey administration and its border policies here in Massachusetts, migration policies here in Massachusetts, and some other things as well. So we're going to talk to him. Got a whole bunch of things we want to talk to Senator Durant about, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And then we're going to come back. We've got some other interesting stuff going on today. Talk about Maura Healey being in Rome and looking to bring some Italian businesses back here. It's funny. I mean, doesn't it make more sense to try to retain the businesses you've already got here before you're out there trying to bring new businesses here? And so you bring new businesses here and then you tax the hell out of them and then they leave. So, I think maybe Maura Healey ought to spend some more time here in Massachusetts and spend some time actually trying to keep the businesses that are here